Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today's story is about friendship, trust, and those unexpected moments that blur the lines between connection and something more. Aaron and Nathan, two best friends, share a night that starts as casual fun but becomes an exploration of vulnerability and unspoken feelings with a fun ending. Let's dive into Almost Get Caught, or Did I Catch Him? My name is Aaron, and this is the story of an unforgettable night with my best friend, Nathan. At the time, I was a sophomore in college, 20 years old, and Nathan was 18, fresh out of high school. We'd been inseparable for years, a friendship that felt more like an unspoken partnership. Nathan was everything I admired and everything I could never quite be. He had this effortless charm about him, a kind of magnetism that drew people in. Blonde-haired, fit, and full of energy, he was the type of person who seemed to belong everywhere. I, on the other hand, was more reserved, always content to linger in his orbit, quietly harboring feelings I'd never dared to share. It was winter, and I was back home on break. Nathan and I had just performed together at his dad's church, a rare opportunity to make music side by side. That evening, we returned to my house, still riding the high of a day well spent. We settled into our usual routine: snacks, video games, and music playing softly in the background. But tonight felt different. There was an undercurrent of excitement, a charge in the air that neither of us acknowledged outright. At some point, Nathan brought up an idea we'd floated around before. "You know," he said with a grin, "we've been talking about trying Molly. Why not tonight?" I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. It felt like a harmless adventure, something to cement this already unforgettable night. The sensation came on gradually, a wave of warmth and heightened awareness. Everything felt more vivid. The laughter, the music, the subtle rhythm of his presence beside me. Is it normal to feel really aware of everything? I asked, half laughing, half marveling at the intensity of it all. Nathan leaned back against the couch, his grin easy and relaxed. "Totally. It's all about the sensations, man. When I take it, I just want to sit with one of my dogs and pet them for hours." I chuckled. "We don't have a dog, but would it be weird if I said I kind of want to just sit close? Like, really close?" His expression softened. "Not weird at all. Let's do it." We moved to the floor, lying side by side with a blanket draped loosely over us. I rested my hand lightly on his chest, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breathing. For a while, we lay there quietly, letting the music fill the spaces between words. My hand lingered where it rested, drawn by a kind of magnetic pull I couldn't quite explain. Nathan's chest was firm and warm beneath my touch, and I found myself tracing slow, absent-minded circles across the fabric of his shirt. After a moment, he spoke. "It's getting warm in here. Mind if I take this off?" "Go for it," I said, trying to sound nonchalant as my pulse quickened. He pulled his shirt over his head, revealing a lean, defined chest I'd seen before, but never this close, never in this way. The soft light in the room seemed to highlight every detail, and I couldn't help but marvel at the ease with which he carried himself. I let my hand drift again, this time directly on his skin. The warmth, the texture, the steady rhythm of his breath. It was overwhelming in the best way. My thoughts were a whirlwind of emotions: exhilaration, hesitation, and something deeper I couldn't quite name. Nathan didn't speak, but he didn't pull away either. His breathing slowed, his body relaxing under my touch. Every moment felt suspended in time, each second stretching longer than the last. "Careful," he murmured at one point, his voice tinged with amusement. "I'm kind of ticklish." I laughed softly, pulling back slightly, though the moment lingered. As I continued, my hand brushed against the edge of his waistband. I froze, suddenly unsure. The boundary between us felt so fluid, yet I couldn't tell if I was crossing it or merely testing it. Nathan opened his eyes briefly, meeting mine with a look I couldn't quite decipher. Before I could say anything, he sat up abruptly. My heart sank. Had I ruined everything? "I'll be right back," he said casually, grabbing my phone on his way out. I lay there, anxiety swirling in my chest. What had I done? Was this the moment that would break our friendship? Every second felt like an eternity until he returned, tossing my phone onto the couch with a cryptic smile. "Save something for you," he said. "For later." He lay back down, resuming his position with an easy nonchalance that both reassured and confused me. The tension ebbed away as we settled back into our rhythm, though the moment had shifted. I returned to tracing slow patterns across his chest, letting myself sink into the quiet intimacy of the moment. I could definitely see his reaction in his pants, and I had the urge to touch it, just as I was beginning to let myself fully sink into the moment and go down further his abs. A sound broke the stillness, the unmistakable creak of the front door opening. My heart stopped. "Are your parents home?" Nathan whispered, his eyes wide with sudden alarm. I shook my head frantically. They weren't supposed to be. From the living room came the familiar sound of my mom's voice, chatting with my dad about the weather and something they'd picked up at the store. My pulse quickened as panic set in. They weren't loud, but their voices felt impossibly close, like they were about to walk in on us at any second. Nathan scrambled to sit up, grabbing his shirt and pulling it on in one swift motion. I grabbed the nearest pillow and tossed it over the blanket that had partially slipped off, as if that would somehow hide the entire situation. "Act normal," I hissed, my voice barely above a whisper. "Define normal," Nathan shot back, his grin betraying his amusement at the absurdity of the situation. The tension in his voice was real, but so was the mischief in his eyes. We both froze as the sound of footsteps neared the hallway. "Aaron, you home?" my mom called out. "Yeah, just playing Smash Brothers with Nathan," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "Okay, we'll be in the kitchen if you need anything," she said, her tone light and unsuspecting. The footsteps retreated, and I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Nathan, still shirtless and now visibly trying not to laugh, whispered, "You're terrible at this." I shot him a mock glare. "You're the one who didn't lock the door." "Fair," he admitted, smirking, "but at least they didn't walk in and see us cuddling like some kind of rom-com gone wrong." Despite the near disaster, the humor of the situation started to sink in, and we both dissolved into quiet laughter. The tension of the moment melted away, replaced by the comfort of shared relief and the realization that, somehow, we'd gotten away with it. With the break ending in about 2 weeks, we definitely planned to hang out again. As for Nathan's abs and below areas, well, that might just have to wait for another time.